Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 14 from Success Principles to Properties, based off of the successful smash hit book, Jack Canfield's The Success Principles. And as always, I always let you know that I read this book at a time when I didn't know what I didn't know. And I was trying to figure out what I needed to do and where I needed to go to take the next step in my life to be successful, get more out of life, more what I want out of life, to provide a better life for my family. Right, I was just like everyone else, working 9 to 5, 50 hours a week, working in a cubicle, answering phones, not happy where I was at, not wanting to be there, hit the snooze button, dreaded driving to work, but that wasn't getting me, dwelling in that wasn't getting me to where I needed to go. So I picked up this book called The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. So it's based as 64 principles in that book. It's the foundation that you're going to grow off of, and each principle grows on top, works on top of each other. So like I said, we're up to episode 13. I'm going to go over all 64. I'm going to share my thoughts, basically verbatim. I'm going to read from the book on some parts and just kind of let you know what I think. And wherever it fits, if I could share some type of real estate feedback or learning lesson or success story or a hurdle that I dodged, I'm going to share that with you. That's the whole point, is try to loop real estate and mindset into this, how I did it, to get from not knowing anything, no licenses, no credit, bad credit actually, uh, little to no money, no formal education, just a little energy, a little trust in myself, is all I had, and I had to build on top of that. So this is episode 14, and this one is called Experience Your Fear and Take Action Anyway. So it's a longer chapter. It has a lot of stories in it, and I'm not going to sit here and read all the examples, although they are good. So I highly recommend getting the book, wherever you want to get it from. It's an older book, so you can go to used bookstore, Amazon, probably get a good deal. Um, so with this, experience your fear and take action anyway. So the first quote that we always start with is, "We come this way but once. We can either tiptoe through life and hope that we get to death without being too badly bruised, or we can live a full, complete, life-changing life, achieving our goals and realizing our wildest dreams." Bob Proctor, another great author, speaker, presenter, you should look up. Um, so I'll read a little bit in the beginning, and as you move forward on your journey from where you are to where you want to be, you're going to have to confront your fears. Fear is natural. Whenever you start a new project, take on a new venture, or put yourself out there, there is usually fear. Unfortunately, most people let fear stop them from taking the necessary steps to achieve their dreams. Successful people, on the other hand, feel the fear along with the rest of us, but don't let it keep them from doing anything they want to do or have to do. They understand that fear is something to be acknowledged, experienced, and taking along for the ride. They have learned, as author Susan Jeffers suggests, to feel the fear and do it anyways. Feel the fear and do it anyways. I like that one. I've always have that. I have it right now. so so like, I've been teaching in front of classes, in front of groups, and for a while now, and even to this day, you still get the butterflies. You're still like, oh man, I gotta, I don't even know why. Like, I get nervous, like especially when it's about a topic that I know like the back of my hand, like real estate, right? Um, so, for instance, tomorrow there's a conference called IMN Single Family Forums, one of the largest single family conferences across the United States, and there's a few of them in a few different cities throughout the year. And every year I do the panel here locally. It's in my backyard. Here, and it's going to be in Scottsdale tomorrow morning at 8:30. And Yeah, there's, you're with these other professionals, all these guys dressed in suits, and they work for these big corporations. And me, I've been in the business. They work for someone, I don't, right? But it's like there's different, but they're smart, they're brilliant, they're great at what they do, they're successful in their respective industry, and within real estate at that corporation. And I'm gonna roll up there and just, I'm always like, I'm always second guessing, right? And every year I do this, and every year I go up there, and it's a great time. Great people, great conversation. I'm not stumped. I don't look stupid, right? So even though I know it's going to go the same way tomorrow, in your head you're just like negative, or oh my god, what if I mess up, or it just, I'm not gonna go, right? I'll definitely be there. I'm gonna make the best of it. I know it's gonna work out, but to feel the fear and do it anyways. I feel the fear. That's it. It's on a everyday basis. I don't care if you've never been in the business, or been in it forever. You're gonna have fears. There's always another level. There's always something. Everyone's different. There's always something that bothers you. Yesterday I was opening up a bank account, for a new property, a new LLC we have, and the gentleman opening up our account, he's like, I'm 32. He had a great job at the bank. And he's like, oh, I want to do something different. I know I need more income, more streams of income, which is smart, right? The more streams of income you have, the more financially healthy you are. So he knew he needed to diversify in some way, and he's been thinking about real estate. But he's just like, you know, I have a job, and if I get in the real estate, it's a conflict of interest, and I can get fired. But he doesn't know what he doesn't know. That's just like for that bank, I guess, if you become a real estate agent. But he's like, so I don't want to do real estate, and he just stopped there, like just stopped. Like, there's so many things you could do in the world of real estate. So think about that. So if you're in that position where you're stuck in fear because you don't know how to get into real estate, or you have these either no family support, or the job has some type of rule, but even for his situation, that rule is just for real estate agents, licensed agents. That's retail. That's sales. That's not real estate investing. He doesn't want to be an agent. He's taking like rental properties, or just maybe doing some flips or whatever. So you don't need a license to do that, right? So there is no licensing in real estate investing. So if you understand what landlording is, or fix and flipping and wholesaling, and you know how to fix up a property, you know what a good deal is, you know how to renovate it, you know how to buy it properly, you know how to rent it out, or do property management. It's just bank loans and cash, right? So you can learn that, and you have access to that, and it's all around you, and you just don't know it because you don't know what to look for. So you got to train your brain to see money. Why are we so fearful? Millions of years ago, fear was our body's way of signaling us that we were out of our comfort zone. It altered us it alerted us to possible danger, and gave us the burst of adrenaline we need to run away. Unfortunately, though the response was useful in the days when saber-toothed tigers were chasing us. Today, most of our threats are not all that life-threatening. Today, fear is more of a signal that we must stay alert and cautious. We can feel fear, but we can still move forward anyway. Think of your fear as a 2-year-old child who doesn't want to go to the grocery store. You wouldn't let a 2-year-old mentality run your life, because you must buy groceries. You'll just have to take the 2-year-old along with you. Fear is no different. In other words, acknowledge that fear exists, but don't let it keep you from doing important tasks. You have to be willing to feel the fear. Some people will do anything to avoid the uncomfortable feeling of fear. If you're one of those people who run, if you're one of those people that are uncomfortable and don't want to feel the fear, you're at bigger risk of never getting what you want in life. Most of the good stuff requires taking risks, and the nature of risk is that it doesn't always work out. People lose their investments, they forget their lines, they fall off mountaintops, they die in accidents. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. All right, so lean into it. Fear is always going to be there. It's there to protect you, right? So that's why you always hear you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And then you build that once you get comfortable, or once you're comfortable being uncomfortable, that thick skin grows, right? And you're able to take on bigger, better projects. Then you're nervous about something else, right? So it's just part of the process. And they had some pretty good stories in here. Um, so they call fair fantasized experiences appearing real. So so like I said, I'm fantasizing about tomorrow. I'm fantasizing that something might go wrong. Oh, let me just make sure we're live. I want to make sure I can answer any questions for anybody. So if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to drop a line, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer, especially if you have just a general real estate. I don't mind interrupting this just to go straight into real estate investing and answer any of your questions. Someone chimed in the other day. We were talking about finding a owner of a vacant house. We talked about probate properties, people in here, people that pass away and leave houses to their siblings. So we went over that a little bit. So definitely open to, we're here to talk about real estate investing. So um, fantasize experiencing appearing real. So I was fantasizing tomorrow is going to be somewhat of a problem, right? When it definitely won't be. Uh, and that happens, right? So I remember I had a business partner when I first started. I did. Um, I tell my story in some of the other previous episodes, but I did 30 deals my first year, 30 deals my second year, right? Had a business partner. So all we did was wholesale houses. Got really good at it, learned the game really fast. Most people don't even do a deal in their first year. So I was very lucky by getting a coach, mentor, becoming a partner. I was able to absorb and take action and learn the business fast, right? So it worked out. So, but I got comfortable, right? That going from learning wholesaling and having a job and learning it and thinking, is this even real, to doing my first deal on my own and be like, all right, this is interesting. But after you do your first deal, you got to understand that that's fine, that's great. But how do you do it again and again, constantly? That's the true skill. That's a real skill. And you usually need a mentor or a coach to help you out with that, right? For someone that's already doing multiple deals so they can show you how to keep that consistent flow. So I linked up and all the everything fell in place for me. So, um, but after 2 years, of making good money, things change, but relationships change, views changed, so it was ugly and stupid, but parted ways. But that was another fair, right? I was like, what? How am I'm so used to doing half of the business. This person does this half the business, and we weren't skilled business people where we had a team and everything that would come and go, but we did most of the heavy lifting. So it's not like I had systems and processes and all this thing in place. Like they did that half, I did this half. That's why we were partners. I was good at marketing, they were good at closing. So I kept bringing the deals, they kept closing them. So we just had our thing. So when we parted ways, it's kind of like, even though we both knew the whole business, but it was it was uncomfortable. I have to now I was at a position where it was like, I got to figure out the other half. And I know what it's about, but I got to be good at it, right? So that was scary. And then you're imagining like, oh well, do I got to go get a job again? Will I ever make it? How long is it taking me to get my next deal? Can I do this by myself? Right? There's like all these things you're thinking in your head. So, but I had to lean into it, right? And you had to feel the fear and go anyways. So, from quitting my job to getting in the business, having some great success, to breaking up with the partner and trying now having to stay in the business and do it on my own and still provide for my family. There's a lot of unknowns there, and there was even a legal battle. So it's like we had both had attorneys, and it was just back and forth. I think the money I spent on attorneys is the same. It was exactly probably almost down to the dollar, the amount that I won. So like a year, whatever, of fighting and stress and unnecessary stuff, the money I paid an attorney is the money I got out of the deal, and for what? Nothing, man. It was a great learning lesson though. I wouldn't say nothing. The lessons I learned, I take on to these new deals and where I'm at now. So it was worth it. So, but I was scared. right? I remember talking to the attorneys. First time you're cutting thousands of dollars. When you think about it, I was in a position where I was starting something new and it was unknown, and I'm spending thousands of dollars to an attorney to fight when I could have been putting that into marketing, or the time strategizing and thinking and stressing out could have been talking to homeowners or building my buyers list or spending time with my family, whatever it is. It was put over there. So I was putting myself even more at risk. Um, Either way. Uh, so here's some of the things that we do. We say, so to help better understand how we actually bring unfounded fear into our lives, uh, it says make a list of things that you're afraid to do. This is not a list of things you're afraid of, such as being afraid of a spider, but things you're afraid to do, such as being afraid to pick up a spider. So, for example, I'm afraid to ask my boss for a raise, ask Sally out for a date, go skydiving, leave my kids at home with a sitter, leave the job I hate, take 2 weeks away from the office, right? These are things you're afraid to do. The Now go back and restate each fear using the following format. I want to blank, and I scare myself by imagining blank. So the keywords are I scare myself by imagining. All fear is self created by imagining some negative outcome in the future. Using some of the same fears listed above, here's how the format looks. I want to ask my boss for a raise, and I scare myself by imagining he would say no and be angry. I want to go skydiving, and I scare myself by imagining that my parachute wouldn't open and I would be killed. Um, I I want to make a low cash offer to the homeowner, but I scare myself by imagining that they're going to hang up on me or kick me out of their house, right? I'm afraid to quit my job and start investing in real estate, but I keep imagining that it won't work out and my family will leave me, right? So it's like you think of through these things. So can you see that you're the one creating the fear? So how do you get rid of fear? I have lived a long life and had many troubles, most of which never happened. I always like that, Mark Twain. I have lived a long life and had many troubles, most of which never happened. Um, One way to actually disappear your fear is to ask yourself what you're imagining that is scary to you, and then replace that image with a positive one. Just like in the beginning episodes when we talk about self affirmations, right? It's the same concept. Thoughts equal feelings, feelings equal actions. So if you change your thoughts, what they're saying is, if it's like, hey, I'm not going to do that, all this bad stuff's going to happen, you're imagining all this stuff, you get nervous, you start to retreat, you backpedal, then the action is not doing what you wanted to do, then now you're back in that spot of living your same circle that just does the same thing every day because you're always scared. So if you change that image to like picturing yourself actually doing the thing, and actually working out and people high-fiving you and the money coming in or whatever the success may be in that situation, and then you get more excited, you're willing to lean into it and take that action into that uh, thought or that idea that you want to go into, then you actually do it, and whether it works out or not, now you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. What was I even fussing for? Why was I even overthinking it? Oh, I like this. I'm going to do it again. Then you have good thoughts again. I'm going to try it one more time. Oh, now you're getting experience, right? Oh, this is working out. It's not that hard. I'm getting the hang of it. I'm learning a couple of things. I'm tweaking a couple of things. I'm going to go faster. I'm going to put up more money, or I'm going to go harder into this situation. And now experience and momentum start happening, and that momentum and traction start to lead to results. That's the key, right? So, um, I won't take up. I'm gonna read a couple more quotes, but that's really it. Take action anyways. We In the beginning we did a lot, like we said, the visualization, goal setting, writing it down, affirmations, thinking about things, building relationships. But now it's kind of like acting on it, leaning into it, actually doing it. So Let's see. Progress always involves risk. You can't steal second base and keep your foot on first. Love it. Authority is 20% given, 80% taken. So take it. What else we got? Do you want to be safe and good, or do you want to take a chance and be great? Love that. What else? Living at risk is jumping off the cliff and building your wings on the way down. Literally. Literally, sometimes that we're doing. Only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. So get out there, take some action, jump into it. Um, Another, just showing you, I'm trying to loop real estate in here. Um, I remember my first, one of the, well, two things happened on this deal. This offer on Chipman, South Phoenix. One was doing direct mail marketing, and in that direct mail marketing, the homeowner called. It was I like doing uh, what is it called? Absentee owners, right? So it's out of state absentee owner owned a house in South Phoenix. Just recently bought it, renovated it, had tenants in there. No major problems with the tenants or the property. But it was a tougher neighborhood, right? So I'm looking at the property. It came through direct mail. Called me. You know, you have your outline, your pitch that you walk through, right? Your seller intake form where you're like, hey, how many beds, how many baths, what's your name? Tell me about the house. You know, anything. You know, just that kind of opening introduction, building rapport, and getting to know the homeowner. And then you know, you always ask, hey, how much do you want? And they're like, hey, you send me a letter, you tell me, right? And you try a couple of times to try to get the offer out of them, try to get a number, and try to get some motivation, some pain, seeing what's going on, seeing how you could help solve the situation with a cash offer or a creative offer. Um, but he was just, nope. If you want to buy this house, give me an offer. Here's some pictures. I forgot what he sent me, some pictures. Place looked great. Um, and that was it. He's like, you want to buy it? Just call me. Otherwise, I'm moving on. So it was a straightforward. Um, so I'm like, all right, cool. So I just remember pacing in my little home office, and I had to offer him $35,000. Literally, it's 50 cents of. Remember, this place was already remodeled. It had renters in it, and 50 cents on the dollar. And the offer was 35,000. So I was just like pacing. I was literally imagining all the things. Like, how am I going to tell him? What am I going to say? How am I going to say it? This was after that breakup, and I was on my own. So I was like, you know, I wasn't the one always giving the offers. So this was new to me, and I was like, what if he does this? What if all this negative stuff? So anyways, called him, and I'm like justifying my offer before even giving it to him. And I'm like, this is why I do it. It's because it's 7 days. It's quick. All this stuff. He's like, what's your offer? I'm like, 35,000. And it's got quiet. Usually they say on the sales side, just be quiet as the sales, as that salesperson. Um, but I was just quiet. He was quiet. And I'm like, oh, should I talk? Should I say something? And then I hear like a gasp. Let's just do it. I got to do it. Can you get this? Can you really get this done fast? And I'm on my phone. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Yeah, of course. Yeah. Then he just unloaded. Hey, my wife just had surgery. I just had surgery. We're both in wheelchairs, and we're losing our business, and we need to, recuperate, and we need some help around the house, and this money's gonna help us, and da da da, and if you can give me that in this amount of time, it'll work out. All that stuff. So he was playing poker, right? He wasn't. He could have said all that on the first call, right? But he didn't. But that was scary for me, right? I didn't want to give that offer. What if I didn't give that offer? Right? I remember. So on that. So what if I didn't? What if I talked myself out of it and I got nervous? Right? So here's what I did on that property. Another uncomfortable. That offer there, which I was super scared to give, led to me. I was like, you know what? I could wholesale this. What if I wanted to keep it? So I was like, let me try to keep this as a rental. That was another outside of my wheelhouse, right? Once you wholesale for a long time, you're like, I got to keep some of these. So I was like, how do I keep this thing? So raise money, don't have good credit, right? I don't want to use my own money. So I'm a wholesaler, so in my blood, it's other people's money, other people's resources, other people's credit, other people's knowledge, other people's time. So, so I was like, how do I get this done? So I was talking to my wife. We owned a hair salon at that time, and one of her, she was an influencer, not a YouTube influencer, but like when you cut someone's hair, or if you inspire or lead a group of people, educators, people that run associations or whatever it may be, when people look up to you, you have like an authority. So as any barber or hairdresser, people trust and believe in them to help them feel beautiful and look good and smile, right? So and then when they sit in that chair, they unload everything that they're thinking, so they tell them personal stuff, so it's like it's a good relationship. So this client was talking to my wife like, hey, the stock's not doing too well. My husband, he's pretty good at it, but he wants to pull some money out and he doesn't know what to do. You always talk about how you and your husband are in real estate. Maybe your husband should talk to my husband. Never met the guy. So I had to go to his house. So I'm like, okay, I was gonna ask him for 50 grand. So I got to buy it for 35. I wanted to have 5,000 in reserves, and I wanted to pay myself. So it was like, so I was like, and remember, I bought it 50 cents on the dollar, so the equity was there. So I'm like, okay, I need to know how much this property is worth. I need to prove how much it's worth. I got to show them how much rents are. I got to show them the leases. I got to put up a PowerPoint. I got to get pictures together. I got to do all this stuff, right? And I was like, how am I going to do all? Because literally, I don't even know. I just know it happened fast, where it was like I didn't do all that stuff. So it just because when deals are rolling, I got it under contract, got to move fast. Told my wife, she said, call this person. I went over their house. It was like it happened so quick, and I just went over the house, sat with the guy, told him about the property, told him where it was, and he goes, "How much you need?" I said 50,000. No no pictures, no papers, no nothing. He goes, how do I protect myself? I was like, well, I'm buying it 50 cents on the dollar. Well, with his money, it was like, my purchase price was 50, but then the extra money he was giving me is a little over that, obviously. But I was like, you get first lien position. So that's another thing to understand is people are like if you own your house, the bank lends you the money and they have first lien position in the house. So that's why they foreclose if you don't pay them. Same concept for us with no banks involved. So it's like, hey, if I disappear, whatever it is, and I don't pay you, you can take the house, right? So cool. And he knows. I told him. I'm sure he may have done his own Zillow check, or who knows if it was even around at that time. But all I'm saying is he said yes. So the whole time leading up to that conversation, I was imagining, what if he says no? What if he laughs at me? What if he stumps me and asks me a question because he knows stocks and he's actually an executive at Oracle, which is a large, tech corporation. It's like this guy's, once again, limiting myself. Like this person's X, this person's big, right? So, who am I? This is my first rental property, right? So, once again, imagining all these things, right? So, in that one deal, I gave one of my first lowest offers, and I also raised $50,000 and paid myself on that deal, wholesale fee, and got a nice rental at a cheap price. All wouldn't have worked if I just didn't trust in myself, if I didn't lean into it, if I didn't just take action anyway, right? Experience your fear and take action anyways. It always works out. I always say, if it doesn't put me in jail or I don't, hurt somebody, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, then what do I got to lose, right? Just give it a shot. I can, 12 years in the business, I could, oh shoot, December 12th, it's December 5th, whenever you're watching this, actually 13 years. So December 12th is when I quit my job. So I should celebrate. I don't know. I don't celebrate it every year. So, so I'm going to celebrate that this year. So, if I didn't lean into it and didn't do it, I would have been stuck. I wouldn't have that rental property. I wouldn't have built confidence. I wouldn't have built experience. I wouldn't have built motivation, right? So lean into it, take action anyways. I want to see if there's a last little quote here we could dive into. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them. Even if it's the replay, go back and watch all 13 episodes, now 14. Feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe to the AZREIA page. A lot of great real estate information and podcasts for you to listen to and learn. So the last quote of this chapter: the secret to my success is that I bit off more than I could chew, and I chewed as fast as I could. Nice. That's a wrap. Thanks for joining. I'll be back for episode 15, which is high intention, low attachment. I don't even read these before I go. I just jump in. So appreciate you watching, and I'll be back on it